Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. If you're trying to buy a new car or a used car, you'll want to watch this show with Andrew MacKay. He's Executive Director of the Nevada Franchised Auto Dealers Association, here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Catherine Cortez Masto knows working families deserve better. That's why she worked with both parties to help lower Nevadans' costs. Lower costs for our healthcare premiums and prescription drugs. Lower costs for utility bills. And Cortez Masto's plan cuts taxes for working families. It's paid for by making the super wealthy finally pay the taxes they owe. And no family making under $400,000 pays any new taxes. So tell Catherine Cortez Masto to keep lowering costs and getting results for Nevada families.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions, and all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
Nevada Newsmakers Studio is located at the headquarters of the Nevada Trucking Association. Motion and purpose are a truck's greatest virtue.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're always delighted to welcome back to the program Andrew MacKay. He is Executive Director of the Nevada Franchised Auto Dealers Association. Pleasure to have you here, sir.
Thanks for having me, Sam. Good seeing you.
I am thinking that all your dealers are throwing great Christmas parties this year.
Sort of. It's a
mixed bag.
It's very much a mixed bag. We're in every industry, frankly, I think, can say they're in unprecedented times. You know, a year ago we're dealing with COVID. We're coming out of it. Never saw a decline in sales volume. Fortunately, we climbed back, but now it's from a volume standpoint, it's awful. In fact, if you look, I just looked at the national seasonal adjusted rate for sales volume in November of this year. It's down significantly to the tune of about 20%.
Wow.
And that is primarily caused, it's supply chain issues, but the fact of, and you've read about it, your viewers have read about it, seen it in the news, and it's the microchip shortage, and that has just absolutely kicked our industry in the teeth.
So obviously lots of companies, including Toshiba and the major Taiwanese chip manufacturers, are literally investing tens of billions of dollars in building factories. But that's going to be, what, 3-4 years down the road before you start to see the product coming out of that?
Exactly. And in fact, on Monday, Paul Walzer, who's the president of the National Auto Dealers Association, Paul was on an automotive program called CBT, and they talked about all sorts of automotive related issues, but they talked a lot about the issues with respect to inventory crunches. And Paul was absolutely correct in that you're seeing improvement in the supply chain on microchip processors. However, we're so far behind the curve that, and he's right, if they flipped the switch today and had 100% capacity going 24/7, we're not going to claw our way out of this thing for about another year. And we don't anticipate seeing normalization with respect to inventory levels, whatever those inventory levels are going to be. Certainly not historically 120, 180 days, probably more like 90 until Q1 of 2023 is what we expect.
Okay, and in fact, bottom line is that is not a terrible date when you look at other industries that are looking beyond that to get some kind of normalcy. What about the used car market? Because it used to be in the old days, you were looking for a used car, a used vehicle, and you were looking for a deal. Now the prices of those have been going up dramatically as well.
They have, and the used market for really about the past 18 to 20 months has has been on a glide path that's going vertical. If you bought a car last year, for instance, I bought a pickup truck in April of 2020, middle of the pandemic. I could probably trade that in today and trade in for a higher value than what I bought for it. So it's just unprecedented, and it's a supply and demand issue. If you drive by any of your new car dealers, I don't care if you're in Reno, Las Vegas, Elko, Los Angeles, the fleet of cars that are on that lot, they're going to be used. Because from a new standpoint, we're carrying approximately that 10% of what normal inventory levels are. If you have new vehicles on the lot, as fast as something will come from the factory, it's out the door.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody the other day that I'm close to who was in the process of purchasing a new vehicle the other day, and they were having a discussion with their husband about whether they should buy this vehicle or not, or whether it was a good deal or not. The husband said, there's one of those on the lot, and while we were talking, 4 more people have gone over and looked at that. We better buy it right now. And that's really the situation, because the dickering part is gone.
It absolutely is, and in fact, it was smart that they pulled the they pulled the trigger on it. It was in, I believe it was San Diego, earlier this year. 4 people were on the lot. A SUV rolled off the trailer. Everybody swarmed it, and there was a fist fight over the vehicle. The dealership had to call the police out because people were saying, "That's my car, and next thing you know, they're swinging, and it's crazy. It's just unprecedented.
This world has gone insane. Okay, let's talk about electric vehicles. Right now, unless I'm wrong, it's about 3% of the U.S. market. But all the major manufacturers, it seems now, are jumping into this field. At the same time, you look at Tesla, and the value of that company, despite Elon selling off some stock, is still insanely high. What do you make of this?
I'm not going to comment on the Tesla stock because it's proven one thing, that historically earnings drove shareholder value. That's not the case. I mean, Tesla is worth more than the big 3 combined,
right?
By a long shot. But I will say this: Tesla builds a great product. Obviously, they're the market leader. Your statistic nationally is pretty close. I think it's important for your viewers to know there's a perception in Nevada that Nevada is behind the curve with respect to EV and, frankly, alternative powertrain adoption. It's further from the truth. When you look at Nevada, we punch way above our weight. In fact, if you compare Nevada versus the leading electric vehicle states, we're number 5 in the country relative to market share, both from electric, hybrid, and plug-in hybrid electric. Over 10% of the total market share. I think it's about 12%. I got the numbers next to me. I can verify it for you, but I think it's 12.1% of all vehicles that are new vehicles that are sold in Nevada are not strictly gasoline powered. So we do really well in this state. As for what the traditional OEMs are doing, you look at Stellantis, Ford, General Motors, Volkswagen. Just in R&D and product development over the next 5 years, it's over $1/3 trillion. And we're going to, just this year alone, you're going to see in 2021, you've seen up until, and it's been pressured obviously because of the supply chain. 26 new models. Next year it's going to be, I think, 75. We're going to have over 200 different product offerings by 2025. The product's on its way, and it's pretty exciting.
All right, and I agree. And you know, in taking rides, I must admit it's been in Teslas at this point, but you hit that quote gas pedal, and boom, that car takes off. They're exciting vehicles, but you know, my concern is that, you know, as much as the government, both on a federal level and on a state level, is trying to boost the number of charging stations, if you compare it to the number of gas station pumps that there are, boy, it's a huge difference. And the fact that where it takes, maybe 5 minutes total to put your credit card in, pump your gas, be gone, it's 10, 15 minutes at least, even with a supercharger. How does the industry look at this in terms of how we grow this industry that obviously people would like to see grow, but at the same time make it so it's going to actually work in the real world?
Well, and you raised a key point. When you bake this cake, there's a perception amongst folks that, well, if you mandate to a state that they have to have a certain percentage of vehicles that are offered to the consumers have to be electric, have to be any type of alternative powertrain. That doesn't work, and it doesn't work because you need to have a product that consumers want, and to your point, you need to be able to have a robust and diverse charging infrastructure. You need to have rapid chargers. You need to have just standard regular chargers. Charging infrastructure in multifamily housing is extremely important. And frankly, got to give a ton of credit to the legislature and specifically Senator Brooks for recognizing the need that we need to expand the charging infrastructure in Nevada. And they passed that bill. NV Energy is going to invest $100 million in EV charging infrastructure. And that is critically important because irrespective of these products that are going to be coming to market in the next 2, 3, 5 years, if consumers don't have the confidence that they're going to be able to fuel that car, they're going to be apprehensive about adopting the technology. And so I think Nevada, in many respects, we are way in front of this compared to, frankly, almost every other state in the union. Perhaps save and except California. Virginia has pretty good, robust electric charging infrastructure. So you're going to see Nevada. I predict we're going to be a market leader in this. You're going to see that.
I asked Doug Cannon, the head of NV Energy, on the program, if NV Energy was going to get into the mini mart business because they're going to need, that many chargers. I mean, you're literally going to have to replace what you have, and maybe more so. Are you not, in terms, because at this point at least it takes longer to charge an electric vehicle than it does a regular gasoline vehicle? Oh,
significantly longer. And that's obviously going to improve over time.
Sure.
Improve battery capacity, technologies. But it's going to be really interesting 20 years from now. What does your gas station look like that we've grown up with? I mean, heck, you lean out the window and you spit out your window, you're going to hit a gas station. You're going to see a mix of charging pumps, for lack of a better term, and then conventional fuel pumps. I was on the phone with somebody and they asked me what my thought was with respect to what California and their aspirational goals of eliminating sales of internal combustion engines on new vehicles by 2035. I don't know if they'll hit that. I'd be shocked if they did. But as we go and we electrify this fleet and we grow that market, conventional gas vehicles aren't going to just suddenly disappear.
No, because if you're cheap like me and you buy a vehicle and you're going to drive it for 20 years, so if I were to buy a car today, then I'm looking 20 years out that I'm probably still going to be driving that because I'm going to buy a good car and maintain it, and they're still going to need to sell gasoline to service that. So I mean, you're not. I don't believe that you're going to get to a point, in the near future where gasoline is going to be obsolete.
No, well, they won't, and here's why. Let's just, for argument's sake, say today, I snap my finger, 100% of all new vehicles are electric at this moment. The average vehicle on the road right now is pushing 14 years. So just draw that 14 years out. Well, coincidentally, you're hitting 2035, 2036. It's just not. It's not going to happen. And to your point, these things are expensive. And I'm not talking, I'm talking vehicles in general. I mean,
Right.
the average price of a new vehicle now is over $40,000.
Right.
And I don't care who the manufacturer is, if it's a Volkswagen, a Kia, a Tesla, a Chevrolet, the products they make, there's no such thing as a bad car now. They last
Right.
forever.
Right.
And that's the main reason why you're seeing people hold on to their vehicles longer. You have a price and then quality of the product. They last forever.
All right, let's take a break. More with Andy MacKay after this.
Before the masks, before the distancing, before the world changed, UMC was ready. Our response to COVID-19 began before the crisis did, with our own team of infectious disease experts who've spent their careers planning for this moment. With a pandemic response plan, we'd practiced again and again, and by blazing new trails in large-scale testing, including every patient we admit. Always ready. UMC.
Can't do it. Stupid, like my mom.
We can't do anything at Mommy's because you won't pay child support.
Dad said you cheated, and he's not even sure he's my dad.
Mommy said you left both of us, so she isn't gonna let me see you. I look just like my father.
I'm divorce attorney Marilyn York, and I may represent men, but hate has no gender, only casualties. Please, stop sacrificing your children in your war against your ex.
The signs and symptoms of cataracts can start out small with subtle changes in your vision. So don't wait. Be proactive and take your vision into your own hands. If you're experiencing the onset of cataracts or just have questions, contact your eye care professional or call Eye Care Associates of Nevada today. Dr. Hiss has years of experience specializing in the surgical correction of eye disorders and has completed over 84,000 vision correcting procedures. At Eye Care Associates of Nevada, we'll change the way you look at the world.
I'm here at the Carson Valley Inn in Minden with Joey Whitaker. One of the things I love about the Carson Valley Inn here in beautiful downtown Minden is CV steak. I have eaten here so many times. Tell folks what they can expect when they come here to eat.
It's a beautiful room, great service. We have certified Angus beef, seafood, lamb, a great range of appetizers, and wonderful desserts. Jean-Michel's done a great job of selecting some beautiful wines for us. The customers love it, and we've got a great selection of cocktails as well. It's not a long way to get away to the Carson Valley Inn.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Andrew MacKay. He's the Executive Director of the Nevada Franchised Auto Dealers Association. So let's talk lithium. This is something that is a major component for electric vehicles. At this point, you know, and this has been discussed several times on the program, it's becoming a matter of national defense, or it is a matter of national defense, not becoming. Where is the auto industry in terms of support of the lithium industry?
I don't want to sound hyperbolic, but on a scale from 1 to 100, it's 100. Without lithium right now, based on the battery technologies, you're not going to have batteries. And for Nevada, wonderful thing about Nevada is we're one of the only places in the United States that actually has lithium deposits that can be mined. I don't know if you heard about it. The Salton Sea is actually looking potentially like that's going to be a good resource for lithium. But is demand grows for this element, which it is, and it's going to continue for the foreseeable future. We need to figure out how we're going to be able to get this stuff domestically, because once we seem to be weaning ourselves off of the influence of foreign oil, I'm not even implying that. Let me be clear, foreign oil is still vitally important to the U.S. economy. But when we became really energy independent with respect to production, we're going to be jumping into this, and we're going to rely on foreign countries, and some that are frankly hostile to the United States. And from the automotive industry, you want to be able to minimize that as much as possible so that you can continue to produce these vehicles and bring them to market.
Are you going to see increased production in the United States of vehicles over the next decade? I mean, because right now there's production in Mexico, correct? And then assembly in the United States?
Both. I think you're going to, and this is speculation on my part, Sam. I think total vehicle production certainly is going to grow. Is it going to grow domestically? Certainly. Is it going to be a different percentage of the overall market share? I don't know. I think probably, and frankly, this is for those propeller head economists, and they know that type of stuff. Whatever the percentage that is domestically produced today, I think is going to be the same. It's just going to be a higher volume.
Technology. There was an article in the New York Times, I believe it was, either that or the Wall Street Journal, that was talking about the exterior of vehicles. They're looking very similar, but the interior of vehicles is just through the roof in terms of the technology and the ability to upgrade over the internet, because you don't necessarily need to buy a new car to get the upgrade or buy extra things. You can just do the upgrade there. Where do you think this is heading? Because it seems to me like, and I said this years ago, and I think it's kind of become true, that autonomous vehicle is not going to happen overnight. It's going to happen a little bit at a time, as each technology the public is comfortable with, the safety people are comfortable with, rather than, here's the autonomous vehicle tomorrow.
Well, it's funny that you bring up autonomous vehicles. When I took over the association, I spoke to an individual who helped drive a lot of autonomous vehicle legislation in Nevada, which, and again, for viewers may not know, Nevada is literally at the forefront of this. There's no state that is even close to, from a regulatory standpoint, than Nevada with respect to autonomous vehicles. So, kudos to those people. But he told me that you're going to have autonomous vehicles everywhere inside 5 years. And I said, I'll bet you $1,000 that's not going to happen. I need to call the bet, by the way, because they're not here. And it's, to your point, it's going to take time. This technology needs to develop. They're learning litanies of situations that the human brain knows and can recognize. Well, you have to teach these computers and the LiDAR and the radar to do that. Over-the-air updates, that's here and it's expanding. Our concern and our manufacturer partners' concern is anytime you have over-the-air updates, you want to be able to have it in a manner that is secure as possible.
Okay, hold that thought. Let's take another break and we'll be right back, and we'll talk security after this.
7 at 7 is available anytime, anywhere.
I'm Riley Smith with your Vegas Golden Knights. Watch 7 minutes of nonstop news from the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
Streaming on LVRJ.com and Twitter. Powered by the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
Modern boutique Ahern Hotel and Events Center in Las Vegas. Host meetings and events on 2 floors. Stay in luxurious rooms and suites. Unlimited branding opportunities. Regional Italian cuisine by Chef Mark Segrisi. Flexible event spaces. Full buyout options. Visit ahernhotel.com today.
I'm Jeff Gehrman, an investigative reporter with the Las Vegas Review-Journal. I'm your guide for Season 2 of Mobbed Up, The Fight for Las Vegas.
You're in with every gangster and hoodlum in the United States.
I don't go for that, Mr. Kennedy. I don't go for that kind of action.
I was on television accused of fronting for the mob.
Subscribe to Mobbed Up, The Fight for Las Vegas, Season 2, today on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Kenny! Dad? Are you learning? This place is great. Huh? You gotta try this.
Wow! This stuff is great! People are gonna love it!
Yes. Yes, they will.
7 at 7 is available anytime, anywhere.
I'm Riley Smith with your Vegas Golden Knights. Watch 7 minutes of nonstop news from the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
Streaming on LVRJ.com and YouTube. Powered by the Las Vegas Review-Journal. This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And Back with Andy MacKay, Executive Director of the Nevada Franchised Auto Dealers Association. We were talking security before the break there. We've only got about a minute left. I just remember that on 60 Minutes, Leslie Stahl was with a vehicle that was being started and stopped remotely. A scary situation. How's the industry dealing with this?
It is scary. And, credit to our manufacturer partners that they're trying to, institute, all the various security protocols. The challenge is that there are certain groups that want to be able to access the data to vehicles to do general repair type matters. And our concern and our OEM partners' concern is that you're putting the public at risk. Right now, there's a big lawsuit in Massachusetts in the district court there. Watch what happens in that, because that's going to bleed across the state. Because if the right to repair people have their way, you're going to see these over-the-air updates, and a lot of that just simply go away because the manufacturers don't want to run the risk of having security breaches.
New car shows beginning of the year. Come back soon and talk about it. And we'll be right back.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
Serving Our Kids Foundation's mission is to serve homeless, at-risk, and food-insecure children in grades K through 8 throughout Southern Nevada. During the pandemic, Serving Our Kids has seen a 42% increase in the number of children served, providing more than 4,500 meals to kids in over 100 schools weekly. Serving Our Kids is powered by community support and volunteers. To learn how you can help, visit servingourkids.org.
Southwest Specialties has been making the homes and businesses of Nevada beautiful for more than 20 years. Their experienced designers and craftsmen create the walkways, backyards, water features, and a variety of outdoor cooking areas that add curb appeal and value to your investment. Call today or visit them at their website and see how they can make your outdoor spaces special. Southwest Specialties, creative, distinctive, beautiful.
The Do It Right guys at Nevada Heating have one mission. Your furnace breaks down today, we fix it today. Why freeze for days while your furnace is down when Nevada Heating can get the job done today and you can get warm again? For nearly 50 years, locally owned Nevada Heating has been getting the job done right. Call today at 323-5585 and we'll fix it today. That's 323-5585 or online at nevadaheating.com.
Watch Nevada Newsmakers on YouTube. You can do that now these days. We'll see you on the next broadcast.